Hey everyone, Thomas here with another episode of BRStv Reacts, the show where I get to check out your aquariums and what you've got going on in the reefing world, maybe give you some general thoughts, feedback, maybe some constructive criticism even. Today is going to be a YouTube edition, meaning I'm checking out videos you uploaded to YouTube with the hashtag BRStv Reacts, so if you want me to see your aquarium, you can go ahead and do that too, and it should appear on a future episode. Let's get started with Batty Joe. Let's see what you got going on. Awesome username. So Batty Joe's got an awesome water box aquarium, nice large tank. I absolutely love the rock work in this tank. This is obviously going to be an SPS dominated, but it is a mixed reef. There are some softies in there like zoanthids, some really nice looking recordias, both Florida and Yuma that I can see there. Some LPS spattered about in there as well. Really nice pieces too. Just in general, this entire aquarium is filled with really nice corals. The growth is really nice. So Batty Joe let me know in the video there that the tank's only been running for about a year. Really long cycle, and that all of these SPS and stuff started as 1-inch frags, and they're really started to grow in. The cap is looking awesome. That green cap there, it's already really starting to foliate, starting to get that scrolling going on. Beautiful little Euphyllia garden in the back. Nice kind of quarantined little rock of zoanthids, completely covered. Great way to keep them isolated so they don't spread and end up in places you don't want them. Some beautiful Monties. There's a beach bum Monty. I think there's a cherry Monty there behind it, looking really snazzy. Oh, nice big bird's nest. Serrate's hopper grows crazy fast. So if that was a 1-inch frag and grew to that in, a matter of months, I wouldn't be super surprised if your parameters are right on point. Gorgeous group of fish, not at all shy. Tang gang right up front. Yellow tang, purple tang, sailfin tang. Got some nice wrasses. Is that like a Melanurus wrasse? Nice flame angel in there. Great group of blastomosa. Some nice chalices. A new addition of that rock mounted there. Apparently there's a little bit of a tumble situation, some cement that let go, so it's been redone, creating like a nice big shelf to support some SPS. Doing it like that, where you've got like a pillar and a shelf on top, is a great way to add a bunch of extra space without impeding flow at all. So the rock work in this tank is set up extremely well to allow for tons and tons of water flow around the rock structure without having dead spots or impeding flow. The rock is pretty minimalistic in the tank. Like the volume of rock per volume of water or a tank itself is really good. It looks excellent. It's a really nice use of both kind of like boulders, pillars, and then also some, that Euphyllia garden. Cutting myself off while I'm thinking. With some shelf rock on the top there. Shelf provides a lot of footprint for all those SPS to go. I don't really have any feedback because this tank is gorgeous. I mean, I'm really looking forward to seeing this tank again in the future. With the growth rates you've been getting for a tank that's only been set up a year. Oh yeah, and there's a frag tank, by the way, because, can't not do that. Nero pushing some water around, bunch of Vortec MP40s on the big tank. But looking really nice. Those are the MP40s there. Just overall gorgeous tank. It's going to fill in incredibly well, really fast. And here comes the kit. So Alktronic, Dosetronic, filter roller mat. Look at all those containers for dosing. Dosetronic on there too. Plus they've got the DD dosing pumps. Lots of automation. Lots of automation to create like stability and probably a more hands-off chiller too. So this is a tank that's in the Middle East, so that chiller's real important. Also looks like a UV sterilizer, really nice research skimmer, and a calcium reactor. You've got it all on this tank. I think the only thing we didn't cover is what lighting you're running, but just insane. Really nice tank. Great group of tanks. There's even a Sohal tank in there, which you don't see a lot of. But you do see him right at the beginning. Pretty sure that's what I'm looking at. Man, really nice tank. I can't wait to see that again. Please do send it in like a year. If we're still doing these reacts, which I really hope we are, I really can't wait to see that tank again. Sweet. Oh, what a great way to start off this episode. Next up, we got Dip Gada. Gotta dip your coral, or at least you should. you know, pests and whatnot. All right, here we go. Starting off the video with some awesome fish. We got a gem tang, a Desjardins sailfin, beautiful fox face, nice butterfly. Wow. Really nice group of fish right off the get-go. Utilitarian fish, which is nice too. Oh man, some beautiful anthias, maybe Despar anthias. Beautiful acros. Big mature colonies of coral. Beautiful, beautiful elegance. Really nice group of Florida Recordias there. Some good looking damsels. Nice acro. Oh yeah. Really, really nice. I do notice a wee little bit of bubble algae in there. Not a big deal. With that tanging in there, it probably doesn't get out of hand. It probably only manages to grow where the tangs are less likely to munch, like deep in between rocks. Nice angels. Oh, swallowtail angel, beautiful. And there's the female. Nice flower pot. Giving us some close-ups of some of your favorite corals, I'm sure. Alveopora, perhaps. Beautiful. I love that the fish are so willing to just be right up front in your face. Nice, beautiful, looks like an Ocellaris clown just dancing away in that flower pot. It's pseudo-anemone. There we go. Nice flow pumps, tunes. Got an MP40 it looks like. Huge colonies of acro, which is really nice. Big bird's nest there, massively tall. This is why you need to give SPS space. Look at how tall that stag is. That thing is massive. Really nice collection. I love seeing big mature colonies of SPS. That's like the glory right there. The glory of big, full looking SPS. I also really like that this is a peninsula tank. So you can see straight through it, both sides. And now we're gonna get around the other side of it. Gorgeous wrasse, flame wrasse there. Man, what a nice group of fish. Looking super healthy. Great job with the rock work too. Swinging around the other side. Man. Knocking it out of the park again. Beautiful orange Monty down there at the bottom. It looks like a Setosa perhaps. Oh, this tank must be just awesome in person. With all that movement with the fish, plus all the acros. What do I even say? The only thing I can pick on you for is the bubble algae. And I mean, I only saw like a tiny patch of it. And those tanks are probably keeping it from spreading. Crazy tanks. Two really good tanks right off the start. This tank's, it must have been set up for a little while at least. Like those colonies are huge. So either you got larger colonies or moved over larger colonies when you set this tank up, or this tank's been set up for a while. I don't really know. There was no information along with the video, just some nice music to go along with it. Just crazy tank. It's really nice to see big, mature colonies of coral. It always gets me excited because I know how much effort and how much time and, how much of yourself you put into your tank to get it to that spot, to get it to where those corals are just big, mature colonies. It's a lot of dedication. This tank could be like 2 or 3 years old, depending on, like I said, if they started off as frags versus if you got small colonies, just good job. And those fish, that gem tang. All of those fish, man. Dip Gada, awesome. 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 I don't know what you're using for filtration and stuff, but whatever you're doing a great job. Next up, we've got Reef Fishy. Another really cool username, Reef Fishy. As opposed to River Fishy? Mangrove Forest Fishy? All right, Reef Fishy, let's do this. Really nice. This tank can't be very big. It's got to be a nano tank just based on the size of the corals versus the space, like the thickness on those branches. Really nice layout. Not a ton of rock work. Using that tank space very, very nicely, keeping everything away from the edges. Nice polyps. Very cool. Got good coralline algae growth showing up on those rocks. Flower pod looks happy. Look at the polyp extension on that stylo or Pasillopora. I'm not sure which it is. Just polyps shaking in the breeze. Chorus wrasse. Photobombing. I love close-up shots like that where you get to see the pattern in the tissue and in the skeleton, in the acropora. Getting nice up nice and close like that, seeing the polyps, the way they're shaped, the way they tuck themselves in those corallites. Really, really cool. Just a very, very nice tank. Again, probably in fairly early stages. Substrate's bone white, which is nice because you got to be staying on top of it with cleaning. I can see some coralline growth on one of your nozzles there. The pump, you got one pump plus those two outlets. That's all you got for flow. Flow looks great in the tank, so that's obviously all you're going to need. Fish are looking happy. Really nice and light on the livestock. Basically just the pair of clowns and the chorus wrasse. Chorus wrasse is great for making sure that you don't have any pests in the tank. They can be a little annoying for flipping things over, but it looks like you've got everything glued down really well. I don't see anything really just sitting there other than the torch that's on that magnetic frag plug holder. Or is it a suction cup? Is it a suction cup for a heater or something and you've just like repurposed it? Because if that's what I'm looking at, real nice. Real nice. But yeah, you're doing an awesome job keeping this tank clean. The only thing that I've noticed is that a lot of your acros or your SPS in general are a little pale on the underneath. I'm guessing by the shadowing in the tank that you're probably using a single source of light and it's probably LED. So that is likely contributing to a little bit more shadowing than you'd want on the underside of the SPS. An easy way to fill that out is to throw some T5s, like a T5 hybrid from like Aquatic Life, or from, I think, Giesman makes one as well. So an easy way to fix that shadowing is to grab a hybrid T5 fixture and add your LED into that and put that over the tank. It is going to pump up the amount of light in the tank though, so you're going to want to turn the LED down a little bit to compensate for the fact that now you've got the extra 4 T5s on there. But that will actually cut down a lot of that shadowing. Another way to do it is to add a second LED so that you've got 2 sources of light over the tank instead of a single. And then when you spread them out, you're going to have more light that crosses in and around and underneath and through those corals, which will help with that paleness, or I'm not going to call it bleaching, but paleness on the undersides of those acros and other SPS. And that will help prevent them from having die-off in those sections in the future. But they're looking good. Everything's looking good. Super clean tank, really nicely done rock work. You keep it basically under the halfway mark in the tank, so lots of room for upward growth. But you know, with the amount of coral that's already in this tank and the fact that you got some good coralline algae growth, I think this tank is probably fairly new, like within the year, maybe year and a half mark. This thing's gonna grow in fast. And that's why I like nanotanks. They're a little bit harder to keep the chemistry stable on because of that lack of water volume and that lack of dilution. So yeah, it's impressive to have a nanotank that's looking good, and it's impressive growth when things are going well. They just fill in fast and you get to start fragging sooner. Lots of fun. Really nice. I'm curious what light you're using, and you know, I'd say I'm curious about filtration, but it looks like it's an all-in-one type system. So I'm sure you've got maybe a skimmer in the back, or you're just doing frequent water changes. And yeah, solid. I like that yellow chorus wrasse. They're fun. They're also pain in the butt, but I mean, as long as it's under control and everything's glued down, fun. Okay, let's see what else we got. What's next? Really nice group of tanks. Next up, we've got Sovereign Reef. Mimic Tang. Very nice. Chocolate Tang, I think, is the other name for that, if I'm correct. Looks like a chocolate or mimic tang to me. Could be wrong. Melanurus wrasse or something similar. Beautiful clown. Coral beauty. Lots of really vibrant, good-looking corals. Mixed reef, LPS, softies, SPS. Decent flow pumps. I notice that you may be running this on a canister based on the fact that it looks like some fluval tubing there. And you've done what I did in the past when I ran a canister on a reef, because got to break the rules sometimes, right? And you've got a surface skimmer that is pulling the water into the canister, which is great because that way you're getting rid of that oily slick that builds up on the surface of the water that, you know, otherwise it's just going to stay there, cut down on light, you know, mitigate some of that gas exchange. That slick up there is no good. So the surface skimmer is a really great way to get rid of it. One thing I will recommend that I had the pleasure of working with and I actually have running here in the studio is the XP Aqua Sumpless ATO. I don't know if you have an ATO on this tank or what you're doing in that department, but the Sumpless ATO is going to add more surface extraction because of its design. And it also is going to protect the ATO sensor from misreading the level in the tank. So basically what happens with all the flow pumps going off, the surface of the water is going to be rippling and moving. If you just have the sensor sitting there, as the water ripples, the sensor is going to be accidentally filling and turning on and turning off, turning on way more than it needs to, and just getting a lot of false readings. So the Sumpless ATO protects it and gives it a stable water height to be working with so that it's only adding water when it needs to and none of that extra surface agitation is affecting it. I think that is the only add-on I'd be suggesting for this setup because it looks like you have everything else. Great flow pumps, you got your heater and everything in there. The only other thing I might recommend is like the hang-on refugium. But I don't think you need it. It looks like you've got everything under control. I don't really see a ton of algae or anything. All your corals look pretty happy. If anything, it looks like a lower nutrient setup because some of the corals are a little on the pale side. Not that it's a bad thing. It's that high vibrancy pale side that you expect with a low nutrient system. But everything looks solid. Lots of flow. Bubble tip looks happy. The octobubble or frog spawn in the back, that Euphyllia is looking gorgeous. Polyp extension's great. Really, really nice. Great little tank. Again, can't be very big. Like this is probably 20 or 30 gallons. So it's another, that's that Sumpless ATO I was just talking about. Interrupting our video here. But yeah, everything's looking really, really, really good. Yeah, what I was saying was nano tanks are tough. And this is another nano tank. And it's looking good. Really impressed with that. It is not easy. And it looks like you've started with like a pretty large group of frags and corals and stuff that are doing really well. So it's gonna grow in before you know it. And probably that tank's gonna outgrow the tank before you know it. But that's what friends are for. Make friends in reefing, somebody with a 180 gallon tank or something, and be like, hey, this tank got too big, buy me a new one, and I'll give you this one. This is really making it hard for me to have an empty tank behind me, by the way. I've been dying to get this thing going, and I've got good news. It will be happening soon, but yeah. Or depending on when this video is aired, it could have already happened, and this is a blast from the past. Huh? Man, I'm just itching. Sovereign Reef, really good job. Another tank that I'm looking forward to seeing again in the future. You're obviously doing like a good amount of maintenance on the tank because that substrate is bone white, looking good. Doesn't look like you got detritus built up in it. All right, last but not least, we've got Travis. Let's have a look at what you got going on, Travis. It's been a really rocking episode so far. You feeling it? Huh? Man, look at all those beautiful Euphyllia. Some nice toadstool in there as well. Some softies. Looks like a corky finger. What? The torches are really, really nice. That green torch is just, it's like on fire. If fire was green, which it can be if it's burning the right kind of mineral. I don't remember what it is. But either way, it's insane. A couple of really nice donuts on the ground there too. Nice blasto. Man. I love that green octobubble. I love that the tissue looks really, really dark, almost like black with just those green orbs on it. It looks intense. Nice Radion G5, rocking it. Beautiful skimmer you got there too. Good looking all-in-one. Oh yeah, got the mat equipment on there. Wow. A lot of gear for a little tank like that, but really, really cool. Making sure those Euphyllia are gonna grow like mad. Never stop growing. Just branch. Just branch out. Really nice gear on there. A couple of MP10s. That's a lot of flow for a tank of that size. The nice thing about having them on there like that is that you're going to be able to have varied flow too. You can have them sink, anti-sink, perform like those tidal swell modes and stuff, and complement each other in that way, which I've thought has always been really nice about the Ecotech programming. When you have multiple vortex, they work really, really well together. And of course, you don't have to turn them up all the way, because I'm sure if they did, we'd just be blowing the flesh all over the place on these poor Euphyllia. But it's nice to be able to dial them in and, you know, have those really nice patterns that go on within the tank. Man, there's the calcium reactor and the continuous duty pump you got on there. Really, really, really nice. Very cool. Man, I'm jelly. I want your Radion. I've got a ways to go to set my tank up, but that's what I've been thinking, maybe going with some Radions. Very, very cool. Man, what a group of tanks this episode. What a crazy group of tanks. Tons of fun. Great rock work in this tank. So I know this is one of those prefab, I don't remember the name off the top of my head, but I know it's a company that makes these prefab rock structures and then provides a little hole so that if you're buying frags on plugs, you can just kind of drop the plugs in. So very, very cool. Great way to be able to move corals around without gluing them down and you know, having to uproot them once they're glued, which is pretty tough sometimes. And because of the structure being that branching kind of structure with those pads on the top, it just lends to really, really easily, you know, being able to dial in the flow in the tank. There's not a lot to block the flow. And that's probably one of the reasons the substrate looks so good. You probably stay on top of vacuuming it because obviously your attention to this tank is pretty high up there. You know, you got all the best equipment on there, plus really happy looking corals. So you got to be doing your maintenance. Glass looks perfect. No film. No coralline on the glass, just the back. Man. And just really nice Euphyllia. I have to have a Euphyllia garden. I say it now, loud and proud. Man, really cool tank. Again, on the nano side, not the easiest size tank to make sure is looking awesome all the time. You know, this tank's probably sub 40 gallons. It's hard to tell exactly what the dimensions are. But to me, it looks like it might be sub 40 gallons, or at least somewhere in that 30-gallon range. Gotta hand it to you. Anybody rocking a small tank, it's not the easiest thing to do, and you guys have been doing some really impressive stuff with smaller tanks. Very, very cool. Well, that was an awesome edition of BRStv Reacts. I had tons of fun. Thank you so much for submitting your tanks. If you would like to have your tank seen on one of these episodes, go ahead and upload it to the YouTube with the hashtag BRStv Reacts, and I'll get to feast my eyes upon your reef, give you my general thoughts, critiques perhaps, constructive criticisms, and also just general praise because you guys are doing an awesome job. Yeah, and if you'd like to check out some of the past episodes that we've shot with some of your tanks, check them out here. There's lots of nice ones. There's a 600-gallon tank, which is crazy. That's a huge tank. There's also some 20-gallon tanks. You know, a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B. Lots of cool stuff. Have a peek.